I've been seeing a lot of mixed opinions on Xavier Legette, and I had my opinions, and I know we had the most popular of all the tweets that we saw regarding Xavier Legette was Shannon Sharp, because Shannon Sharp said something to the effect. I think I saved it. Let me see if I got it. Okay, here we go. Shannon said Legette got to start making those plays. Enough of this my bad ish, and next time. That was the next time. I feel that. Yeah. I mean, when you look at that, that's a play that you do have to make, right? That's something that, I mean, yeah, that's a big time drop in a moment where you probably roll into the end zone. Now, it probably would have been down at the 1 because his knee right there, boom, or let's say the 3. But you're in position. I strongly believe if we're right there and he's down, I know we don't have any timeouts. They run the, quick offense, run up to the line, spike it. You got pretty much 3 good chances to get into the end zone, both with time and downs. So, of course, you want to see him catch the ball right there. But I'm stalling him out. Why? He's a rookie. That's number one. If I'm going to show that same kind of love, this was my argument about the Bryce situation. And look, I'm not going to get hung up on that because it's easy to do. Excuse me. But this was my argument about the Bryce situation. Like, you're plopped into a situation that is not the most favorable, and you're expected to be what you would be, what we're seeing right now, and what you can project to be over the next 3 or 4 years immediately. It doesn't happen, man. It just doesn't happen. It takes time for these guys to develop. We've seen guys bench. We saw Bryce bench, but even in the past with other Carolina Panthers that weren't quarterbacks, we've seen them benched. And then they come back to greatness, right? Now, this has become a problem. 2 catches on 8 targets. Some of those were, one was an overthrow and a few drops. This was one of them, a key drop. But he also made a couple of huge plays in key moments as well. So, let's hear what he had to say about it.
That was the one to win the game. Shit, I done made a couple plays, but I got to make the ones when they matter. That was the one to win the game.
I mean, I ain't trying to – I know this ain't a funny moment. It's a serious moment. But one thing I love, man, is like you can tell that the accent is not a show. Like, that's really him. Well, shit, man, I'm trying to make it big guy. You know what I'm saying? That's real. That's him.
Shit, I done made a couple plays, but I got to make the ones when they matter. That was the one to win the game.
Hey, man, don't be too hard on yourself, big dog. Pause. But let's look at something real quick because it's easy to look at that situation and be upset about Xavier Legette, but let's look at something different. Scouting report. You tell me what you see. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see it with me. We'll go to school together. 6'1", 221, 9-inch hand size, wingspan, all that stuff, 40-yard dash, blah, 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 vertical. But here's where it gets important. What's the positives? Great size and build for the position. Tall, muscular frame. Very good contested catch ability. We'll get back to that in a second. Strong hand-eye coordination and flexibility to adjust to the ball. Above average long speed for a player his size. Can be a vertical presence. Talk about it. Above average bully ball style yak player. Strong downhill mover with some speed. But let's get to the important stuff right here. Negatives. Poor footwork and explosiveness at the line of scrimmage. Too often fails to gain ground quickly. Below average acceleration and burst. Needs to stride out for a bit to reach top speed. Below average change of direction and ability in open field. Can struggle to work back to the quarterback and find the ball at times. Now, here's a question I will ask y'all. When you go back through this list of negatives, because we can look at the positives all day long, but go back through the list of negatives. What do you not see? What is the one thing you don't see? Struggles with catching. I don't see that anywhere. Has that become a problem in Carolina? Yes. But I don't see that anywhere on this negative scouting report. Why? Because it wasn't an issue. I could tell you a couple things that I see that have become positives that were listed as negatives. Can struggle to work back to the quarterback and find the ball at times. if Xavier Legette if he struggles in this right here that we're seeing, that drive never happens. Because when Bryce Young breaks containment in the end zone and throws the ball before he crosses over the line again for another loss of down, who did he hit? Xavier Legette. So we can scratch that off the list. Below average change of direction ability in the open field. I watched him turn C.J. Gardner-Johnson completely around and be one-on-one with a safety who he got absolutely in front of with leverage and blew past him. And then we saw this as a result. You're asking a 6'1" guy who is doing things that you and I, honestly, if we're being objective, we didn't think he was capable of. At least I didn't, because you didn't see a lot of this kind of stuff on tape. You didn't. There weren't a lot of plays where you saw Xavier Legette stretching out and extending to try to make a play. What did you see, though? I'll tell you what you saw. Very good contested catch ability. All right. Y'all want me to be critical of Bryce Young? Here you go. There's been a couple of plays that have happened throughout the course of these last 5 games, right? Where we've seen opportunities that were overthrows, one on a fade in this game, and a few others in the Bucs game, where like, hey, this is where an opportunity for you to gain trust with your guy extends even more. And I'm sure that if Bryce was to come out and talk to us honestly and we had like an in-depth conversation, he would probably say this too. You know what? It'd be easy for y'all to bang on Legette. And y'all, when I say y'all, I mean me included, because I was in that number on Sunday. But when I start to really look at things and get new information, I'm like, you know what, man, maybe this ain't as bad as you think it is, right? Because if you're asking a guy that's not used to doing something that you're asking him to do, especially when I've only had, 5 games now to learn. They moved me to X, right? So I'm the guy now, right? There was going to be a development arc. We know that. Look at where he was drafted. A guy this size with that kind of ability, if he was polished in a lot of the things that we're seeing them ask him to do now, we'd have never had a chance at him. He'd have been the first receiver off the board. Especially when you see how he could just blow past you so easy, especially on let's say a screen, little dump off, and he's gone. We saw that in college a bunch. We also saw Spencer Rattler testing him against Georgia, against some of their top secondary, where he would go up, and what did he say? My ball, nobody. Ain't that what he told us? Hey, that my ball, nobody. We don't see a lot of that. Saw it against Denver late in the game when there was nothing else to lose. Bryce Young just heaved one up, and he'd come up, extended over Surtain, extended over over a safety. My ball or nobody's. That's something you got to see more. So if Bryce, in my opinion, was having an open forum conversation with us, which he never will, right? We may get this maybe once or twice if he decides to sit down and do a podcast with somebody, but never going to do it with us. But I'm sure he would probably say, like, yeah, that's something I could develop and work on, for sure. Amongst other things that I could work on is allowing him to have these 50-50 opportunities, right? And I think that's coming, because the first thing I have to do is be able to solidify myself to say, hey, I can play the position and you can trust me to make certain plays. We've seen that. That's a given, right? The next step in that evolution is, throw him the ball more. Get him throwing the ball in space. That same anticipation throw you made to Adam Thielen with 3 people around him, because you trust Thielen, let's start doing that a little bit more with XL. Let him go one-on-one 50-50 ball, because there's great things that happen when you do it, right? I saw a play, I want to say it was against Kansas City. It didn't convert. We scored on the drive, but it didn't convert. What was it? It was Bryce Young went deep to Jatavion Sanders. When you throw a deep pass in this NFL, you got a few different things that are going to happen, especially when you got a big target. Either number 1, it's a 50-50 contested catch. 2, of course, nothing happens. Or 3, and I would say 1 and 3 are the 2 that you would see most likely, PI, holding, or pass interference, but they ready to throw that flag. I'm talking about a hand be on it like this. Soon as if you see that ball up in the air, the hand is on the flag. I'm ready to throw it. Why not give him a chance? Do that all the time. A big body guy like this, of course, if he starts to develop that portion of his game even more, and he knows that you trust him enough to throw it to him and give him a contested opportunity, boy, I wish C.J. Gardner-Johnson would. What is you talking about? Watch out, boy. Hey.